So a couple, like I don't know if it's a couple of tweets or basically there was a little bit of not necessarily controversy, but there was a little bit of a discussion going on about some of my tweets. People had a little bit of differing opinions on the tweets that I made, and basically some people were basically saying like, okay, like uh if you can't afford everything in this economy, like if the inflation and all this stuff is really that bad to you, you should have never had kids. And that's just a crazy statement to make, but it speaks to a larger problem that I'm seeing with a lot of people, especially either they're boomers or they're terminally online people. And basically, I guess this is my tweet, and I'll explain it a little bit. But my tweet says essentially there are sadists who are terminally online weirdos whose only goal in life is to ensure that you are utterly demoralized by blaming every one of your misfortunes on your own wrongdoing while they sit in their cush position as COO of Daddy's company. So I say that to say this: there's like essentially like the way that I'm framing this. I don't know if it fully articulates and if people fully understand. Like that, a lot of people have like very low comprehension level, especially on Twitter. But like the idea, and this it's not a dual perspective per se. Like it's not a duality of perspective, but it's a nuanced opinion based on like years of experience here, right? I didn't grow up wealthy. I grew up lower middle class. I basically had to fight and scrap and scrounge for everything that I've gotten. And so you would think that that would make me one of these people, and a lot of people, it does make them one of these people that are just like, well, I worked hard and I made it, so y'all can work hard and y'all make it, and my boys can work hard and they make it. But I'm just not one of those kind of people. I'm not going to subject my children to that. I'm just not going to do this. I'm not going to make them like I don't view like this sadistic like watching your children suffer as being some kind of like empathy or something good for them necessarily. Um, I see a lot of people who they turn out successful, and the reason they turn out successful is because they don't have these hurdles in front of them. It just doesn't make any sense to try to want to put hurdles in front of your child and try to impede them on purpose. But they're definitely some of these weirdos who are either boomers or they're terminally online people who basically sit there and tell you if you're not extremely obscenely wealthy, and then it's just your own fault. Like there's like if you don't have if you're struggling at all, then it's all your fault. Like everything is your fault all the time. And I don't like this is why this is why like okay, make a mockery of Andrew Tate for a lot of reasons, but there's a reason that clip like went viral of him talking about it. Like okay, well everything's just going to be my fault and I'm going to take responsibility for this wholeheartedly, right? Like let's say I adopt that exact mentality. I can adopt that mentality, and I kind of have to because especially as men, in society, generally being the providers and these kind of things, dealing with this perspective, you need to basically rid your mind of any oh woe is me. Like you need to get up in the morning, do the thing, and to do that, you do need to have this sort of mentality of everything is my fault. Now, but if you look at the whole of the universe, like basically like everything, every action that's happening to people, it is not necessarily all your fault. Like not everything it is in your control. This is one of the sort of problems that this mentality is causing. When a lot of people think everything is in their control, it really breaks them because whenever something does go wrong, they believe that they've done something wrong when it could just be some sort of happenstance and circumstance that just ruin their life for no reason. Say you're working on a machine, and some guy's working with a machine. The machine slips, and it snaps, and it hits his back, and basically you know rips part of his skin off and damages his back and makes gives him back problems for the rest of his life or something like that. Or like my dad who's down in his back because he was working hard on a bust his butt for years, like years and years doing working on tractors, and he busts his butt like in and actually just like jump all of a sudden out of nowhere has back problems and he can't work anymore. And he's like, he's probably 5 years away from retirement or less. I don't know. Um, yeah, I mean that's like he didn't do anything wrong. Like it wasn't his fault. Well, he should have been prepared for all this. Blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. He did his best. Like he did everything you were supposed to do, and yet he's still going to be punished for it because there's no like no one cares, right? Like none of the like no matter how much the higher ups at the company are going to talk nice to him in person or whatever because he was an employee, he is still is technically, as long as he can come back, he's an employee of their company. Like they're they're not going to be empathetic. They don't care. What they want is someone out there working on a tractor. They don't care. Like, okay, well, how can we help him? How can we help him? Can he be a shop runner, or can he be a shop manager or something like this? No, they'll put the sales guy in charge of the shop because that makes more sense for them economically because he earned that raise. Oh, that guy who's never done anything in the shop period. Yeah, he should be the shop manager because that totally makes sense, right? So it's this backward mentality of all this kind of stuff. Like no one's rewarded. No one cares. Like it doesn't matter. Like how hard you work. You can be the best worker in your field and do the absolute best job. And like my dad, I've watched him. He's literally the best mechanic. Like nobody can outdo like it. Nobody can outdo him on a tractor. Like he can work on any tractor you put in front of him. He never has a problem. He might have to do a little bit of digging, but I mean he can work on almost anything. He's I've seen him do it. Like in that's a skill, and he's not being rewarded for his skill because he wasn't rewarded for his skill. At least until way later, because they just didn't view it, as very valuable, and they didn't view him as very valuable. They viewed him as expendable. As long as he was fixing tractors, that's was his primary role. And I know I'm going off on this sort of tangent, like talking about my father. It's kind of on my mind a lot lately. But this is the kind of mentality. Like people like my dad were told a lie. They were sold a lie, and I was sold the same lie. That if you work hard, that if you do your best, that people are gonna recognize that and they're gonna promote you. And it's just not the case. And I should do an alternate video where I talk about how I've had this on my mind too, talking about how life is not a meritocracy. It is fundamentally not a meritocracy. I wish it was. I would win so much. I would win big league, absolutely big league. If life was a meritocracy, but it sadly isn't. Life is just unfortunately not a meritocracy. You don't get afforded those kind of like, oh well, if I work hard then I get rewarded. No, that is not how it works. You either suck up, or you know somebody, or you try to market yourself and try to show, oh well, I'm the best. I'm the big dog. Don't you hear me? I'm the big dog. I'm the big bad dog. Don't you know that? I'm the best in the business, boy. I'm the best doggone. Like if my dad was going around like that, if he said I'm the best doggone mechanic in the southeast here, I tell you what. If my dad was going around doing that, he probably would have a position as like a shop manager, and they would basically write him a blank check for whatever like he was trying to do. Like he would be heavily rewarded. That kind of arrogance is heavily rewarded in our society, and people just don't understand. That's what I'm getting at. This mommy and daddy's money, this COO of daddy's company thing is that sort of mentality of well, if you beat your chest enough and you say I'm Joe's boy and I worked hard and whatever. Like, it doesn't matter if you actually worked hard. Doesn't matter if you actually did anything. It's all about the perception. Everybody, this whole reality is fake, and that's why a lot of it is crumbling. I could go off on that, but this I anyway, this whole thing of whenever I'm saying, talking about mommy and daddy's money, and the way that I also talk about generational wealth. I guess this is the more crux of the argument. Somebody might ask, like, well, how do you reconcile this? Like, okay, well, you want to give your kids money, and you want to take care of them, but also you don't want them to be mama and daddy. And I think that a lot of it is just due to people, who the parents who just want to, they give their kids money and they don't expect anything out of them. They don't want them to do anything with it. They don't have any contingencies about it. Like, they don't have like a proper plan of like, okay, well, we're gonna give this to them, but we expect something like the talents or something like that. Basically, like, you give something and you're expecting something out of them. And you expect them to perform, or before you give them this, you gotta expect them to perform and do something. Okay, well, you gotta go work and get you a regular job for a little bit, and I just want to see how you do, see how you perform. Let's see, and if you can maintain yourself and handle yourself in that way, then I will, I will give you, what is rightfully yours. I guess that's it's more of a, trial event. Okay, like that's kind of what I want it to be. It's like if they survive this trial, if they survive this trial period of doing what they're supposed to do, then they can get what's rightfully owed to them. And I think that that's fair. I think that that is completely a fair way. But it's not. You don't have to have it this way where let's just not give not give them anything. Make them grind and make them. That's how you end up with this whole broken generation. Is there are a lot of these people who they've been crushed by this whole mentality of if I work hard, then I'm gonna be successful. I'm gonna be rewarded for my talents, and they just aren't. They're not rewarded. They're not promoted. They're not. There's nothing done for them. And then yet, there's people who are scumbags who they got mama and daddy's money, and they got put in a cush position as COO of daddy's company. Yeah, daddy made me COO, and then next I'm gonna be CEO whenever he retires. Yeah, that's the kind of mentality that a lot of people are bringing to the table in this sort of game. And if you're not if you're not able to combat this, and you're not trying to like actually do something for your own kids, and it's going to be meager, it's going to be meek for them, but it's such a nuanced perspective. It's something that you have to kind of lived it, like been seen both sides of it, right? I'm not right now. I'm not poor by any means, but it certainly would have helped to have a leg up, and it certainly would help to help my own children and give them the leg up that I didn't get. And it's all because of this sort of false story, the big lie that people have been sold about, like working hard and it being rewarding and all this kind of stuff. But all of our reality is fake now, and everything is so fake that no matter the people who are the quality of the person, and how well they're doing, it's all about the perception, and how people are viewed nowadays. And I think that that is the hard part, to get over. Is I want my kids to do well. I don't think that they should deserve to suffer. I don't think that people, who are struggling, like, I don't think that they necessarily deserve to suffer. But there are people who literally think that, and they will sit there and they will laugh at you. They will be in the CEO COO chair of their daddy's company, and they will sit there and go, "Oh, look at the pores. Look at." I don't view that as productive. I don't view laughing at the pores as productive. I don't view all of this kind of BS that they're trying to manufacture, that they're trying to get outrage, and they're wanting you to be mad at other poor people, and it creates this cycle of poor people turning on poor people because, well, you're not working hard, well, you're not working hard enough. And it's exactly what these rich people want, like this is, now that I think about it, and this can kind of be the bow tie on the end of the video. Essentially, this whole big lie of like the harder the equation of the harder you work, and the higher quality work that you do, the better that you will, the odds that you will have in life, is very much, I think, a boardroom, like, created, manufactured tale, a lie created in a boardroom, designed to make sure that, okay, if all, I mean, and I'm not saying that you should necessarily get in. I'm not making this a, like, class warfare thing, but there definitely is a level of rich people want all the poor people to be mad at other poor people. And if I eventually own my own business and become rich one day, I mean, I'm that's the plan anyway. Uh, I don't plan on doing this whole thing of fake empathy or whatever. I plan on actually caring about the people who would work for me, and that, okay, well, I want them to do their best, and I want them to be taken care of fairly. Not that there's always going to be perfect fairness, or whatever. I just think that it's right to do right by people, and I don't see why doing wrong by people should be propagated in society and be seen as a moral good, regardless of your station in life. Right? I don't care if it's the janitor. I'm not going to, like, you know I'm not going to be uh talking down to a janitor just because um he is in the position that he is. Like, okay, well, this guy's had to be a janitor for 30 years. Like, that's the only position he could hold. Like, he's not he doesn't have a lot of skills. He doesn't have a lot of things going for him. So what? Like, it's not my place to sit there and, like, tell him, like, hey, you're poor, buddy. He knows that, and there's no reason to try to, like, have this poor people taking pot shots at each other. It's not productive. It does nothing, like, positive for anyone. And I hope that maybe I made some sense along the way in this video. I don't know if I did, but that's essentially what we're talking about here. Is there's a lot of people who don't understand that there's a nuance to how how people, they don't control everything. Don't control everything about it. You don't control every single scenario that's going on. If you go in tomorrow and you have a fall at work, and you're out for the rest of your life, um, there is some level of, like, accountability to that, but there's also, like, it doesn't have to be looked at like that. Like, you can, okay, well, maybe we can retool your skill set into something else. Like, there should always be some sort of consideration for these people, but a lot of these people just get thrown to the wayside, and nobody helps them, and nobody cares anymore. So I think that this is definitely something that people need to consider. Like, you need to consider how this affects people, and you need to consider all the individual scenarios that people are dealing with. Like, it's not just you super rich, YouTuber who gets to complain about e-drama and all this kind of stuff. It's not all about you. It's not all about, like, everything that, oh, well, plebs, like, y'all need to just work harder. I grinded YouTube for like 10 years, and now all of a sudden now I'm a mega millionaire. No, it just doesn't work like that for everybody, buddy. Like, that's not how it works. That's all I have for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and also there are links in the description for everything and everywhere that I post. This has been a rambling video, and I don't know if it made a lick of sense, but I hope that somebody got something out of it. But this is Trey from Trey's Think Tank, signing out.